When I was 17, I worked for a janitorial company, and the owner and my boss, we got along really good. We were driving out in the country one night, and we got to the point where I did not know where I was. We went that far out. And he goes, "Oh, I know where we are." He goes, "This is my old milk route." I said, "Okay, well, since you know where you are, I'll keep going the direction we're going." And we're driving along, and it's 11:30 at night. And we come upon this old farmhouse and barn. And I said, "Wow," I said, "that's an old farmhouse." And he goes, "Yeah, great." And I looked at him. I said, "What's your problem?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "The way you just said that, it didn't sound too good." He goes, "It's a farmhouse. You want me to get excited?" I said, "No." I said, "What's wrong with that farmhouse?" He goes, "Nothing." He goes, "Leave it alone." I said, "No, I'm not going to leave it alone." I said, "What's wrong with the farmhouse?" He goes, "It's haunted." I said, "No, it's not." He goes, "Actually, it is." I said, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I was in the house when I was a senior in high school." And at the time, he was 28 years old. He said it was July. It was a warm summer night. Him and three friends went out to this farmhouse because they had heard it was haunted. So they went out there and they broke into the house. And he said they went upstairs, and he said what was weird was the 4-bedroom doors upstairs, every door was closed. So it was kind of scary opening these doors going into these rooms. And nothing was in the rooms. The house was completely empty. So they walked downstairs and they're standing in the kitchen. And he said it was a very warm night. He goes, "We were sweating that night." And they were just standing around the kitchen, goofing around, saying, "Ooh, scary." And one of his friends goes, "Oh, this place isn't haunted. Let's get out of here." And when he said that, all 4-bedroom doors, one at a time, slammed shut. Then something came down the stairs like it was pissed off. And they froze. They couldn't move. They're all staring at the entrance to the kitchen. And on the other side of the entrance was the stairs. And they're just staring. Then all of a sudden, all four of them could see their breath. So that's when they got the nerve to run. Well, about 2 months later, again, we're driving around. It's 12 o'clock at night or so. And he kept, I don't know how we ended up in the same area, but he kept falling asleep because he had a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning. One of the janitors called him, said they had a problem at the building. So he had to go in, and he had been up all day long. And he was nodding off. I kept waking him up. And one time I woke him up, and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "you need to find a place to pull over so I can go to the bathroom." I said, "Okay." And not more than 30 seconds after I said, "Okay," he fell asleep again. Well, as soon as he fell asleep, there's the house. So I pull into this limestone driveway and drive past the barn. Barn's to the left, house is to the right. I go past the barn, and there's about a 20-foot path of grass on the backside of the barn. Then after the grass is a cornfield. So I pull in there and I stop, shut the car off, and hit him in his arms and said, "Hey, go use the bathroom." He wakes up. He looks to his right, and he's looking at a cornfield. He looks to his left, and he sees a barn door that the doors slide open and close. Then he looks behind him, and he sees the house. And Wes, this man's eyes, I thought were going to come out of his head. He's like, "No, you're not." I said, "Jason," I said, "we're outside. Don't worry about it. Go to the bathroom. Do what you need to do." He goes, he was begging and pleading me, please leave. I'll go to the bathroom somewhere else. I said, oh, come on. I said, we're outside. What's going to happen? I finally talked him into it. He went outside. He went to the bathroom. He comes back into the car. And I had already opened my car door, and my left leg was hanging out the car, resting on the ground. And between the two doors, there was about a 12-inch gap where you could see through the barn, and you could see the road on the other side. And the moon was very bright that night. And we were sitting there talking, and that's when I told him about my encounter. He goes, Scott, you saw a Bigfoot. I said, is that? He goes, yeah, that sounds like a Bigfoot. This is what you saw. He goes, you didn't see a monster. You saw a Bigfoot. I said, oh, my God. And I was telling him, I said, I remember it like it was yesterday. And we're talking. And the only way I can describe this is something it was 2 feet, went from one side of the barn to the other. And it wasn't a walking pattern in the feet. It was like somebody was sidestepping all the way across the barn. And I was looking at him to see if he could hear it, because he heard it over himself talking, and he stopped talking, and I was staring at him. I wish I would have been looking at the barn door to see if I could see something go past that opening. And I go, did you hear that? He goes, yeah, I heard that. He goes, you want to go? And I started to get out of the car. I said, no, let's go see what it was. He grabbed me by the collar of my shirt, pulled me back into the car so hard where he ripped my collar. He goes, close that door, start the car. We're leaving now. We're not going to go into the barn and see what made that noise. He goes, because I can tell you right now, and you know also, that what you just heard was not a dog, it wasn't a coyote, wasn't a raccoon, wasn't a possum, wasn't a skunk. Those were 2 feet. I said, yeah, they were. He goes, and we're not going to go in the barn and look. He goes, we're leaving right now. He goes, I am your boss, and I'm the owner of the company you work for. I'm telling you right now, start the car. So I said, okay. So I closed the door, start the car. The 76 Monte Carlo's got the bench seats. So back then you'd throw up your right arm on top of the seats and turn around and back up. Well, I started rolling backwards before I actually got my head turned around to look out the back window. And as soon as my head turned to look out the back window, I slammed on the brakes, and Jason's head just did a whiplash. And he's going, what the hell are you doing? I said, I just ran over some lady. He's like, what? I said, I just ran over some lady. I said, she was wearing a white bonnet thing on her head, light blue dress with a white apron, like something that they'd be wearing in the early 1900s. Looks like she was out hanging laundry outside. He goes, no, you didn't. I'm opening the car door. He goes, Scott, where are you going? I said, Jason, I just ran over some lady. I walked behind the car, and my knees are shaking so bad I can barely even walk. I get on my hands and knees. I'm looking underneath the car. There's nothing there. I walk around the passenger side. I'm looking. I walk around to the front of the car, and I fell because my knees just gave out on me. And Jason, I hear the car door open, and he's like, Scott, where are you? What's wrong? He thought something grabbed my legs and dragged me underneath the car. He comes running out. He goes, what happened? I said, I can't walk. My knees are shaking so bad. He goes, do you need help? I said, no, I think I can stand up. And I finally stood up, got in the car. We left, got a couple of miles away from the house. And I pull over, and he goes, what are you doing? I said, I need to stop driving right now. I said, I'm shaking so bad. I said, I need a moment, please. I need a moment. He goes, okay, I can understand that. So that's my backing over a ghost encounter. She was as clear as flesh and blood. I mean, it was that clear. And like I said, the moon was really bright that night. And She was standing behind the car. Now, what the story is on this house was the house was actually built in 1832. And in 1902, husband, wife, and 3 kids were murdered in that house. When he researched it in the county that it was in at the library, when he asked about the address of that house, he said an older woman that was working at that library said, "What do you want that information for?" He goes, "Oh, I just want to check it out." She goes, if you're planning on going there, don't.